When we move into agentic AI and a computer is not, for regulatory reasons, able to open up a bank account somewhere, guess what the computer is going to do? It's going to figure out a way to trade on the blockchain and use things like Bitcoin. And so don't underestimate the power of this. Moreover, in a decentralized society where we're losing our trust in fiat currencies, I think Bitcoin as a store of value or a potential layer of value that we transact with is going higher. And
the new global monetary system, which we believe is Bitcoin.
The only thing prohibiting transit in the Straits right now is Iran shooting at shipping. It is open for transit should Iran not do that.
And as to this commander-in-chief, he did something people talked about doing. You just wait for Cuba. Cuba is a communist dictatorship that's killed priests and nuns. They've preyed on their own people. Their days are numbered. We're going to wake up one day, I hope in 26, in our backyard, we're going to have allies in these countries doing business with America, not narco-terrorist dictators killing Americans. This is a big frigging day. And everybody in the world is thinking differently than they were just a few days ago because of what you did.
And then talk about why Palantir is important to Worldview. So what we do is stratospheric ballooning, and we take remote sensing kind of equipment into the stratosphere so we can produce imagery and intelligence, surveillance kind of products in the stratosphere. We fly for up to 60 days at a time, and the way our technology works is we can do what we call station keeping. So we can stay over an area for a very long period of time. And so doing that produces a significant amount of intelligence and surveillance product, and to be able to process all of that data and turn it into decision quality information at speed requires a relationship with someone like Palantir. So what we're doing with Palantir is two things. First is creating an autonomy solution for what we call a stratolite. That's the system that goes into the stratosphere. Right now, it takes weeks to plan a mission. It takes hours to make maneuvers in the stratosphere. With Palantir, we can do that now in seconds. We can plan an entire 50-day mission in just a matter of seconds or minutes. And then when we're executing that mission, we can take on real-time tasking from customers and use what we call an AI flight director from Palantir to autonomously maneuver that system in the stratosphere. With all that data we're collecting, we then have to turn it into something that's usable for our customers. And what Palantir is helping us with is understanding the intelligence that we're gathering, inferring what's going on with other sensors from space or in the air domain, and creating what we call a single pane of glass, or a cohesive intelligence products for our customers.
So your data is being embedded into Palantir's technology.
Yes.
Is it being used right now in the war overseas?
Not yet. We just started this relationship with Palantir in January, and already we've created an autonomous solution, and now we're expanding into new domains with the same technology. So today we announced a partnership between Palantir, Ondas, and Worldview, Maven mission planning software.
And beyond Palantir, your biggest customers are?
Well, U.S. Navy, U.S. Air Force, NASA, and then allied governments around the world.
How are geopolitics, the tensions overseas, Middle East, how is that affecting the type of demand you're seeing?
Well, what we're seeing is a request to accelerate the use of our systems into operational scenarios.
Welcome to the Crypto Teacher. And I come back with that video just to make you think. And make sure you go join the Patrons. If you're not a part of the Patrons, make sure you're hitting the Cash App. Also, go like and follow the TikTok. More videos to come. And make sure you like the video, subscribe, and share it everywhere. It is free of charge. Doesn't cost you a thing. Share the video. Share the knowledge. It is so important in the times that we're living in right now. And we have all the puppets coming out telling us the true agenda now. Now Scaramucci is talking about agentic AI. These AI agents having their own wallets, being able to use crypto. And of course, Cryptoteacher told you this a long time ago. And I know a lot of you laughed when you heard it. But now we can clearly see. Crypto is for the machines. Blockchain is for the machines. They'll be able to run this economy without a human involved. But of course, first we need that crisis. And now we got it. Now they can ride it all the way into the fourth industrial revolution. And in a crisis, you can do things you normally would not have been able to do. And people like Scaramucci and Kathy Wood are not going to give you the whole truth. You got to sit back and do your research. They're going to give you some of it, but they're not going to give you the whole truth. And remember, the crypto teacher told you. And of course, guys, you can't make this stuff up. And yes, you heard it correct. We have Hegseth said that we can get through the Straits of Hormuz if Iran wasn't shooting. Yes, you heard that correct. And this lets you know, get your popcorn, sit back and let it play out. This thing is not going to end the way everybody thinks it's going to end. And remember when the C word came out, I told you what it was for. And of course, people came after me. No, you're not correct. But guess what? The crypto teacher was correct all along. And of course, those in my Patreons, I gave you a certificate for passing the psychological warfare. And that's what you're in right now. The crypto teacher never ever, and I mean never ever, relies on his own understanding. I go to the Most High. I go to the Creator. And I bring it back to you. And I give you the truth, nothing but the truth. Yes, the truth hurts, but it sets you free. But because I give you the truth, you're going to hate me. But remember, I'm just a watchman on the wall. And never forget, my people perish from the lack of knowledge. And that's because they reject it. They rather be deceived. They rather be distracted on things that don't matter. And we know what's going to happen. They're going to end up on the wrong side of history. And remember, the crypto teacher told you. And we have the hype man, Lindsey Graham. Now, I'm an old man. I remember when Lindsey Graham was young. I remember all the things he used to talk about. And we've seen them all come true, especially over my lifetime. He's always laid out all the agendas. And now he's talking about Cuba. And we can clearly see Cuba being squeezed right along with a lot of these countries. And we know all this ends up in Armageddon. So therefore, they can bring in the one world. And remember, the crypto teacher told you. And we have Worldview Enterprises CEO working with Palantir. And it's funny because in the background, it said it's magic. And 9 replaces the letter A. And we know how important 9 is. 9 ETH. What you put out is what you get in. And he talks about surveillance. And we know all this technology eventually is going to create the real life Star Wars. Because these drums are beaten, of course, it's orchestrated. And they're working with all the defense companies. And then, of course, he says NASA. And we know NASA means to deceive. The same way you have them sitting in the theater in the background, that's exactly all this is. Again, you're watching a movie. Get your popcorn, sit back, and let it play out. Because eventually the machines are going to take over. The drums are beating. If you're part of my Patreon, you already see the proof. And remember, the crypto teacher told you. And we have the Strait of Hormuz. Oil prices now being very volatile due to the drums are beating. And now we're allowing countries to take Russian oil. Yes, you can make it up. The same Russia that they're saying is providing intel to Iran. And like I tell you, you're watching a movie. And as oil prices keep moving up, who's getting hurt? Who's really the one taking the beating? That's right, the people. And the politicians are going to do nothing but play the Hegelian dialectic. Nobody's coming to rescue the people. But of course, the people beg the politicians. And we know the NWO caused the problem, wait for the reaction, and run in with a solution that they had 20 years ago. And that's that programmable money that allowed them to sit at home. We've seen the movie before with the C word. And then when it comes to the stock market, the bond market doesn't care. All this manipulation that's going on, yield rates just keep rising. And that means stocks and cryptos are going to keep pumping and dumping. But guys, don't forget, we're now on the weekend. And we always get entertainment. So again, get your popcorn, sit back, let it play out. And remember, the crypto teacher told you, because he knows when it comes to the NWO, it's all planned out. You have a wonderful day.
Unfortunately, Russia continues to show no willingness to negotiate. We will and we must therefore have to increase the pressure on Moscow. I want to make this very clear. Easing sanctions now, for whatever reason, is something we believe is wrong. We will continue our support for Ukraine. We will not be deterred or distracted from this by the war in Iran.
As you all know, we had a video conference with the G7 leaders on Wednesday, and 6 out of 7 were clearly the opinion that we should not release the sanctions against Russia. And we were a little bit surprised that we heard this morning that the American government decided differently.
And, really quite bizarre that there is credible intelligence that Moscow is helping Iran with the targeting of drones that are being fired against the US and its allies, while at the same time the US administration is easing sanctions on Russian oil that were just starting to really bite on the Kremlin's war chest. So, a crazy situation. And then in the meantime, as Anne-Marie said, this constant talk of escorting tankers through the Strait of Hormuz that really, shows no sign of happening, and no real plan to reopen Hormuz in any way to free up this oil.
While the US has issued a second temporary waiver for the purchase of Russian oil, how much and where does that oil go?
Yeah, so this is for oil on the water already. So they're allowing other countries to buy oil that has already been put on ships, already exported from Russia up until yesterday when that statement was released. That follows on a previous lifting of sanctions that would allow India to buy the Russian crude, specifically India, because India has been a big buyer of Russian oil. It had been scaling back Russian purchases because of added U.S. pressure on those sales, and they had been taking in more Middle Eastern crude. So now with that Middle Eastern crude blocked in, India's at a shortfall. So they're allowing them to take that Russian. And then the other main buyer of Russian crude was China. So we do expect some of those barrels that are on the water would also go to China. And potentially we could see some other countries that are lacking Middle Eastern crude taking some of those. The Urals, the main grade that's exported from Russia, is a similar crude to what we would see coming out of some of the Gulf countries. So that could be an easier replacement. But conversely, one of the strange things is that a lot of those countries that had been buying Russian crude were doing it on a deep discount because those barrels were under sanctions. And so it was a risk for them to buy those barrels. Now that they are licit and allowed, potentially that price gets closer to normal market prices. So we'll see if that is also kind of a dislocation that even dissuades some people from buying those barrels. However, with a shortage, people are looking for anything they can get. So that's the state that we have right now, and that's why we're pushing $100 a barrel.
But this oil move is a concern, and I do believe, as I said many times, the Fed should be cutting interest rates to help the cyclical parts of the economy to grow, because the Trump tax plan is disinflationary because it increases the supply side of the economy. However, if you're the Fed, having gotten burned very badly with transitory in 22, 23, they're going to sit and wait, as Rick said earlier, and you see it in the markets, we're pricing out Fed easing. So it does cause a risk, because when in doubt, the Fed's going to sit back and is going to wait. They don't want inflation expectations to become unmoored. And because of that, nothing is going to happen. The yield curve is bare flattening. That's not going to be good for interest-sensitive activity, which is why what happens overseas needs to be resolved as soon as possible.
Yeah, I mean, look, let's put some context around it. Staples have been a pretty poor performer before coming into this year. They took too much pricing. Volumes really started to lag, and the space has not been a very good place to be investing. On the year, when we began the year, this whole concern over the AI trade really had people just flooding and going into defensive spaces. So the reality is the sell-off that we've seen in the last week or two has really been kind of the starting point was, I would say, artificially high. because the fundamentals have not improved, yet the stocks had an incredible start to the year. So the reality for us is, every one of my stocks is going to get impacted. There's no question. Some will be impacted less than others. That's what I highlighted to you earlier. And so it's really going to be kind of a stock picker's game in this sector for this year.
We're going to have tremendous workforce availability. We're also going to have robots helping us. We're going to have a lot of robots helping us because we need it. And because we're going to town, we're building a lot between the AI and the auto plants. So we're going to need robots. We're going to have robots, but that's going to help us.
Robots hold steady hands in the operating room, and drones are redefining the future of war. Innovations of first-generation humanoids, factory automation, and autonomous vehicles have surged from private sector investment. Every one of these advancements is powered by AI. The robots are here. Our future is no longer science fiction.
Maybe crypto is actually built for the machines and we didn't even know it. And AI can easily handle private keys and easily understands transaction hashes and like how all this stuff works. It is money that is built for computers, even before the computers to intelligently handle it were built. So I find that interesting. And perhaps those of us who were involved in crypto pre-AI, we're kind of just like getting the ground ready for the AI systems to have a fully developed financial system handed to them, for better or worse.
This could be perhaps the greatest revolution in financial technology since the birth of the internet itself. Many Americans are unaware that behind the scenes, the technical backbone of the financial system is decades out of date, many, many years out of date. You know that. Paul and others are straightening it out, but payments and money transfers are costly and take days or even weeks to clear. Under this bill, the entire ancient system will be eligible for a 21st century upgrade using the state-of-the-art crypto technology.
And as President Trump has directed, we are going to keep the U.S. the dominant reserve currency in the world, and we will use stable coins to do that.
I think stable coins could reinforce dollar supremacy, because with stable coins could end up being one of the largest buyers of U.S. treasuries or T-bills. Mm-hmm. So all of a sudden, if you are using a stable coin in Nigeria that's backed by the U.S. dollar, you don't actually have to have dollars. It's on your phone. You can transact.
We are going big on digital assets. So Trump administration has made digital assets a priority. I've seen estimates that just over the short term, stable coins could create $2 trillion of demand for U.S. treasuries and treasury bills. To put that in context, the number is probably about $300 billion right now.
We will take a close look at regulatory impediments to blockchain, stable coins, and new payment systems.
The Department of Commerce is going to start issuing its statistics on the blockchain, because you are the crypto president, and we are going to put out GDP on the blockchain so people can use the blockchain for data distribution, and then we're going to make that available to the entire government so all of you can do it. We're just ironing out all the details so we can do it.
Together, these world-leading technology giants are announcing the formation of Stargate. So put that name down in your books, because I think you're going to reduce the cost of virtually all goods and services. It'll make the United States a manufacturing superpower and the world capital of artificial intelligence and crypto. But with today's announcement, we take a major step to bring healthcare into the digital age. Instead of filling out the same tedious paperwork at every medical appointment, patients will simply be able to grant their doctors access to their records at the push of a button. Just a button and you're all set, and all the information the doctor needs will be immediately transmitted.
Going to a different economy, and we're going to be learning more about that as we go, but clearly we're learning that things can be done from remote locations. We're learning that technology can replace people. even more than we thought.
We're not going back to the same economy. We're recovering, but to a different economy, and it'll be one that is more leveraged to technology. And I worry that that is going to make it even more difficult than it was for many workers.
In Silicon Valley, and my friends who work in technology know that what we did to the manufacturing workers, we are now going to do to the retail workers, the call center workers, the fast food workers, the truck drivers, and then even bookkeepers, accountants, insurance agents, lawyers, and on through the economy. So what happened to the manufacturing workers is a very clear sign.
And so we'll import Chinese-based CBDC technology. So it's going to be CBDC in a box provided to you by the People's Bank of China.
But every stock, every bond, every currency, every commodity, every piece of art, every private business, every piece of real estate will eventually be a token on a blockchain, an entry on a ledger, permanent and immutable. We will have truth instead of trust, and we will save over $7 trillion a year.
Like what you see in China and their social credit scoring systems, right? If we get identity wrong, it could be a tool to enslave humanity, and if we get it right, it could be a tool to liberate humanity. And as an American, I'm obviously rooting for the one that's on the side of freedom.
If we could tokenize all our ETFs, all $5.3 trillion of our ETFs, and provide that in a digital wallet, you could seamlessly, without fees, going from a digital currency or a stable coin or whatever that may be in your digital wallet and buy bond or stocks. And I believe that is going to be the future.
I believe we're going to be in the cutting edge of tokenizing bonds and stocks.
It's coming.
And we have the technology now. The fact that we are now moving forward in tokenization, every bond and stock, is crazy. Yeah. We should be moving towards that frontier. Obviously, there's winners and losers and all that, but we need to be prepared for the tokenization. And it would democratize more finance if we tokenized bonds and stocks.
Cryptoteacher and the New World Order book, plus the 3 kids books. It's time to re-educate. Also, new to cryptos, Coinbase, Bitrue, Binance. Do not forget book links and crypto links are in the description. The stock channel, guys. Don't forget to go like, subscribe, spread everywhere. You have your Kobo, your chip stocks, your banking, your gaming. While everybody's sitting at home, get home stocks, the Seaver, the biotech stocks. And while everybody's at home wishing they were still getting that free money, what are they doing? Drinking and smoking weed. Don't forget about those stocks, and you have a wonderful day. The most powerful person in the world is the storyteller. The storyteller sets the vision, values, and agenda of an entire generation to come. Steve Jobs. And guys, I truly believe in this. When you look at the New World Order, they're the storytellers. And that's the reason why I wrote my New World Order book. But guys, now it's time to change the current generation. And I wrote 3 kids books. I love the Trinity because I understand the power that's in it. So I have 3 books. We have an opportunity to change the generation, to educate, not just me, but I want to show you that I take action on a daily basis. And I want you to take action on a daily basis. Whether it's your job, whether it's in your community, we have an opportunity right now to educate the masses. I posted this on my Twitter account. Please share, but this is a short clip of the 3 books. There's going to be a clothing line and action figures. Please get these books for your kids, nephews, cousins, friends, so therefore we can start the re-education now. Because as we see, the 4th Industrial Revolution foundation is definitely here. Robots, algorithms, drones, taking humanity out the picture. We have to re-educate. But let's get into the video.
Part 1. King Joshua and Drama Team save the village. Part 2. King Joshua and Drama Team save New York from COVID Stories 3. Part 3. King Joshua and Drama Team goes to China.
It's mandatory to get part 1, part 2, and part 3 of this series. It's time to re-educate Generation Z.